So good. I saw briefly you were looking for a little bit of obedience with your American Staffie.
Yes.
What was your dog's name again?
It's Bruno.
Bruno. How old
Yeah.
is Bruno?
He's just about two as of April. That's a guess. I adopted him from CACC
Mhm.
April of 2020, and their best guess was he was around a year.
Sounds good.
Um, yeah. I I would even guess maybe a little younger. He was very, very puppy-like and had pretty bad separation anxiety.
Got it. Cool. So go ahead and fill me in on any information I need to know about Bruno, what
Okay.
your goals are, anything. Yeah, anything else I should know.
Sure. So he is on fluoxetine 40 milligrams a day, which has pretty much curbed his separation anxiety. So I can leave him alone now comfortably. I still use, I think it's called Clonopin or Clonidine situationally for storms, especially. As soon as it starts raining, he is like a scared, shivering
Yeah.
poor little creature, and he just wants to hide under a bed or in a closet, and pants, rules, all of that. Um, my biggest goals with him, he's settled down quite a bit. Like he still will have his bursts of energy where like I'll run in the yard or take him on a long walk, and he's very good with every dog. He's pretty much a beta, like he's very passive. The only times he does bark is to play. If another dog like won't play with him, he'll bark at the dog, which is, you know, some dogs don't like it and some dogs listen to it, I guess. And then sometimes he'll bark at me to play or when he wants to go out. But my main goal is to work on his recall because it's like he ignores me if we're like I could never let him off leash anywhere. And if he got away from me, I would be very afraid that he would not come back or get hit by a car. And then I also really want to work on him jumping. I had it pretty much broken when I was living alone, and then I moved in with a friend who had another pit bull breed, and he was very jumpy. And then kind of, I feel like Bruno got back into the habit, like, oh well, this dog does it, I can do it too. And we tried very hard, but he just gets very excited, like if the doorbell rings, and he jumps up to like greet people. And he weighs about 60 pounds, and he's small but strong. And I don't want him to hurt anybody or even if it's just out of excitement, like his paws can scratch you pretty good, and like I have scratch marks all over me, and it's out of excitement, not malice. He's a very friendly dog, but he doesn't know his size.
Got it. Okay. Um, so I have here just you look for recall, jumping. He's on a few meds for the separation anxiety, and then another medication for storms.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else?
Um, Behavioral wise, no. He's a pretty chill dude.
Okay, nice.
Sometimes he's like puppy, and then sometimes he's a total old man. There's like two different personalities.
Got it. All right. So obedience wise, were you looking for any other commands? I noticed you said recall, jumping. Were you looking for like anything else, like maybe like a place command or like
Yeah, a place command would be great. Like if I have company over and I want him to stay on his bed,
yeah.
something like that, that would be awesome.
Okay. Any other commands you want to know?
He knows sit, like, or sit, or if I say wait, he sits, but sometimes he'll confuse lay down just out of excitement. He goes like straight down and waits and looks.
Okay.
He's pretty food motivated. So like if I'm on a walk and he's looking at me, I'm rewarding that. So he's pretty good. He's come a long, long way. I think the first 3 months I had him, I cried an awful lot. I was like, what did I get myself into? But yeah, I want to make him the best he can be and kind of help change that stigma behind the bully breed and show
Yeah.
people they really are good dogs.
Yeah. Um, okay. So like everyday life. So if you were to have everything you want with Bruno, what would life look like?
Guests and children coming over and confidence that he's not going to jump on anybody,
Mhm.
that he can calmly, wait to be greeted, um, and the recall really, like if I'm if I'm to let him go, like my sister has a huge yard, but it's not fenced in. I would love to let him go play openly and not worry about him taking off beyond beyond, my comfort zone.
Yeah. How about would you like to take him to like a restaurant, like a patio or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You would?
So with that, that's another, I guess I forgot about that. If it's a crowded place, he gets kind of overwhelmed. Like he can't just sit still. He's got to like almost visit every table.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, like especially if there's another dog there, like he wants to just he's nosy almost. He's got to
got
see what everyone's doing.
it. Okay. Yeah, I'm just asking these questions just to get a feel for like what program would work best for you, because obviously we're not going to give you a program that offers you commands that you're like, I would never really need this out of ever, you know. So we're just giving you what
Yeah.
you're wanting, what you're needing. Um,
That would definitely be a bonus, but the jumping and the recall I think would be my top priorities.
yes.
And then from there, like the place.
Yeah, cool. So, what else? So yeah, it sounds like he's just, it looks like you're just, you did a lot of hard work, and then you're noticing the change and everything, which is good. So now it's just more like making it very like stricter and uh, more reliable, So I'm assuming you did research on us and everything, like the e-collars. We use e-collars and prongs and all this other things, correct?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I did try my friend's one and he said there's like a warning button to use before you shock them. Is that the same thing as
Mhm.
like shock collar?
No, we don't use the warning. Our
Okay.
system doesn't have a warning.
Okay.
Um, and I'll explain why. Write that down so I remember.
Because, and I don't know if this was a coincidence, but I had it on a very low setting and I did the warning to him twice, which I thought was just a beep. And then shortly after he threw up. So I felt really bad because I was like, did I do that or was it a coincidence?
Um, I've never seen that happen where
Okay.
a dog makes them throw up. I mean, yeah, I've never seen that happen.
Okay.
No, never. I don't know. It could have been a coincidence.
All
Uh,
right.
um, yeah. So, yeah, I think it's just coincidence.
Okay.
And so, and I'll get into why we don't use the warning in a little bit. But yeah, we do lose electronic collars. And we do all the other things like the positive only, like what you're doing. We do it for like puppies 6 months and under. We do positive only, just food stuff, layering in the foundations, getting them setting them up for success, and having them use their brains, their nose, following the food, following the lure, getting them into different positions, and getting them confident with these positions as well. So it's just the foundation stuff.
Yeah.
Um, then, so that's positive only. Positive only has a very low ceiling. So, you said it, or did you say it? So let's say he was jumping on your guest, but then you're trying to recall him with the turkey, like, hey, leave the guest alone, leave the guest alone. He's probably not going to want to listen to that or go to the turkey because guests came over.
Right.
Um, So again, it has a low ceiling. Again, once you take that outside, if your dog has enough food drive, then yeah, you can probably get a good and well-focused dog on your walks. Like what you said, when he's looking at you, you're aware that he's probably continuing to look at you like, "Ooh, give me food," right? So that's good. What else? So that's positive only. Once the puppy reaches 6 months, we go ahead and start e-collar training right away. Um,
Okay.
done e-collar training with 4-month-old puppies before. They were going to be a bigger dog, so that's why we did it. It was a Doberman, and her name was Azula. So she was here for 4 weeks, and by the end of her 4 weeks, as like a 5-month-old puppy, I guess, she was like off leash trained, like
Oh, wow.
5-month-old puppy walking around just off leash trained, right? Obviously, to the regular person's eye, seeing a puppy with a prong collar and an e-collar is like a little like, what are you doing to that puppy, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way you're training it, right? There's wrong ways and right ways to do it, especially with a 5-month-old puppy or a 4-month-old puppy. There's a really specific way, and it's really nuanced because what you can create different behaviors that can come out of the puppy that weren't intended, like nervous peeing, excited peeing that can start happening. So there's a certain way to get a puppy into pressure training at that young of an age. Um, what else? And then what do you walk Bruno on?
I use a harness and he's pretty good. He doesn't really pull. Sometimes if he sees another dog ahead, he might pull a little bit and I just kind of stop and remind him not to pull. Um, Sometimes if he sees a person that he wants to catch up to, he'll pull a little bit, but it's nothing that,
Dragging.
yeah, it's nothing that's dragging me. It's just like he's trying to walk faster almost to get to them.
Yeah. So for the harness, you'll definitely want to switch that out because harnesses, although you're not seeing it, are used for pulling. So like
Yeah,
we're pulling.
I've read that too, that it helps them pull you.
Um, I think protection training, we use harnesses as well to create frustration because dogs have opposition reflex. So if you pull back, they want to go forward. If you pull left, they go right. If you pull right, they go left. Same thing backwards and forwards. So when you pull back, they get this pressure here that's negative and it's annoying. So when you pull back and you release and you pull back and you release, you're creating frustration. So protection training, we do that. We pull and release, because they want to go. We let them go for a little bit and then we pull them back right away. Then once we've got enough frustration that can turn to aggression, we let the dog go and they go shoot off to the guy and they bite the guy, right?
Gotcha.
So the way we train would be telling him to not pull, but then if we have a harness on, that tool is telling him to pull, so he's going to get confused, right? So we'll have to change that either to just like a regular flat buckle collar, so like one of these that go through the loop, and not the snap ones. They go through the loop and everything. You buckle them.
Okay.
Um,
So my concern with that is he'll kind of back up and try to get out of it right away. Like
yeah,
he's pretty smart.
yeah, you just get a tighter one, right? Because
Okay.
there's different sizes and everything. Um,
Okay.
if that's still a concern for you, um, probably either a prong collar or like a slip leash. So like the slip leash, you just put it over and then you slip the lock, and there's no way if the dog backs out, it's gonna tighten. So there's no way it can flip out. But for these flat collars, if that's happening, it's probably just the fitting. It's probably just too loose.
Too
And
loose.
have that happen here. We dogs will come in. A lot of dogs usually come in with a loose flat collar, and then sorry.
His is definitely loose because I use the harness to walk him. The collar's more just for like his ID and rabies. But yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
So
you can tell me what your suggestion is in person, try them on or whatever.
Um, so we have the positive only harnesses, then prong collar. Prong collar is like those spiky ones that go on,
Yeah.
also mimic a dog bite, right? Prong collar is a good step forward, just because it allows you to correct your dog now. If you're using that as a training tool, like training only. So you can create behaviors like sit down, you can stay in place, you can do everything, right? Even recall. But the issue with prong collar is once you take that leash off the prong, you've lost all control. So
Yeah.
all the training goes out the window. Your dog is only good on leash. And then sometimes with prong collar, maybe Bruno sees someone he hasn't seen in a long time, or like his best friend, his dog best friend
Yeah.
starts pulling you, right? And then you have the prong and he hits the prong, but then he keeps pulling, right? Because Bruno right there and then is at a level 7 maybe out in his excitement level. But the
Yeah.
and your strongest yank, right, is maybe like a 5. You're never going to override the brain in that moment, and he's always going to be stuck pulling because you're never stopping the mind of correction, right? Because this is physicality, this is physical. It's their language. So if Bruno was in the dog park and maybe a little younger dog was bothering him, and he was like, I'm getting annoyed, I'm getting annoyed, he would probably just straight up just bite that dog, right? With physicality. There's no leave it, there's no off, there's no warning. It's just, I'm going to bite you, right? Get
Yeah.
away. And that puppy understands that because it's their language. They're like, okay, don't go near that dog. I'll go by someone else, right? So that's why prong collar is a good tool just for those reasons. But again, you have some cons that can happen with certain dogs. Other some dogs are super soft. That prong collar is just good enough for them to address like pulling and doing recon and all these other things. But other dogs, like bully breeds, funny enough, golden retrievers, tend to ignore prong collar pressure because they're just so
Oh.
happy-go-lucky. They don't perceive threat that much, right? Uh,
Oh.
what else? So then all these tools and methods have like low ceilings. So all these low ceilings, then it brings us to the electronic collar, which brings us to or gives us at least 90 to 100% of reliable obedience.
Okay.
So electronic collars, old school term is shock collar, right?
Yeah.
Jesse will tell his clients that it's electric, yes, but it's not electricity. So it's not flowing through the dog's body. If you've seen one, it has it's a strap with a little box on it and two little
Yeah.
prongs. Whatever those prongs are touching is whatever is contracting. So the technology is the same technology that's used on humans. Chiropractors and physical therapists, they use it to on torn muscles, the TENS unit or like stim.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever had that before, um, but a lot of the way they teach it is very similar to the way we teach e-collar to dogs. So the physical therapist will tell the client, "Let me know when it's too uncomfortable." As they keep increasing it, and the client will let them know, "Hey, that's a little too uncomfortable." Okay, we lower it 2 levels down, and they let the machine do its work on the client, right? That way is very similar to how we do e-collar training for dogs. What's that?
Oops.
Sorry, his brother left, so he's gonna get very vocal. Um,
Aw.
what was I
Are they
saying? Oh,
puppies?
say again.
Are they puppies?
Yes, he's 9 months, but the other one's older. Uh,
Oh.
so he's 9 months, and he's still. They just got here 2 days ago, so they're still getting acclimated to the environment. It's funny because they were separated for a long, long time. He was over there, he was over here, but then he saw him walk past. He's like, oh, "There he goes," but then he didn't.
Oh.
That's whatever.
Poor.
What was I going to say? Oh, but technology. Um, so yeah, that's the same way we use for dogs on humans. Um, the brand we use is called Dogtra. So the brand has 127 levels on it, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 127. There are other brands out there that maybe have 10 levels or 16. The last consultation I had, she bought one and it has 16. So think of 16 or 10, we'll use 16, equal to 127. They're the same power, just different numbers.
Okay.
We have so many more numbers to be more specific to the dog's personality, the breed, what we're teaching, and like the environment, right? Because if you're on the 16 level e-collar, and let's say 10 is making Bruno yelp, it's too much. But then
Yeah.
nine,
Oh.
then 9 is too low, he's not listening, then you're stuck. You want your dog yelping or you want your dog not listening? You're stuck there. But for dog shrub, since we have so many more numbers, if 40, for example, is too low and 50 is too high, well, we have 45, 46, 43. We can be very specific and we have a lot of room to work with. Does it make sense?
Yep. What do you find number wise for bully breeds is like the sweet spot, or does it truly vary by dog?
It varies. So like an owner will say, "Hey, my dog's super soft. They're gonna be a low number." Like, okay, we don't know, right? It's always different. We start
Okay.
giving the dogs like a little higher number they didn't expect, or a dog, like my dog's super tough. We start training and they're like a low number, right? It's always changing. I've never looked at a dog and then like guess the number. And, I don't even guess anymore because it's always just different of what we're
Do
doing.
you just typically start low on the low end?
Yes. So we start low and we work our way up. So it's low as possible, high as needed. Um, how to say so because we're looking for a certain reaction. And if you watch, I recommend you watch any YouTube video lesson one. Watch lesson one, and you'll see how we find the number and what we're looking for, right? Because we're not looking for like yelping, crocodile rolling, or any freak out, right? We're just looking for something subtle and like a movement, right? So you'll
Like
see.
they're recognizing that they felt it.
Correct. Yes. You'll see where we stop at, and then the number's going to be changing, right? So, for example, for Bruno, if we find that his number is 30 first lesson, good. And then you get home, and then maybe 30 is too high, right? Because we're going to give you exercise to find the numbers that you keep repeating, because this number again is going to be changing. I started a session, a one-on-one in-person client that had a reactive German Shepherd. We found the number to be 80, right? The dog finally realized it was there on 80. We start training, working the dog, 80. By the end of the session, 80 became 20 because
Oh,
she started to dial down. She was reactive. She was like all over the place, right? But now since she started to realize, oh, okay, I know what's going on. I know this. I know what's going on here. I know what's the game plan and everything like that. Then the number becomes more sensitive to them. So the number's gonna be changing based on environment, the weather. If it's raining or it's hot outside, the number could be higher. Playing with dog friends, the number could be higher. Different locations like a dog park or like near like a Oz Park, maybe like the busiest park in Chicago, the number can be higher as well. Um, so it's always going to be different. Elias, I put Harvey in the back because he was starting to get vocal from Calcifer. Does it make sense?
yeah, totally.
But what is it? You will be given we do recommend a certain model for the bully breeds. So that's the only thing that we have to kind of choose there, because there's a bunch of models that go by weight. Dog Chug goes, it kind of gives it to you. So like if your dog weighs this much, this is the collar for you. If your dog weighs this much, this is the collar for you. But since because there's like a 60 pound, maybe 70 pound and under collar, that it wouldn't be his appropriate for him because of his breed of being a bully. So he would need like the big boy collar, um, just to give you some wiggle room there.
Now, does it matter or would it affect your decision on the collar that he is very skittish, passive? Like he's kind of a big baby. Like I
Oh,
don't necessarily know that he would need like extra power. Like for example, if somebody picks up a broom and they're going to sweep or like a loud noise, like he is literally frightened by
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah, that's different.
Okay.
The way electronic collar works is, let's say we did the baby collar 280C because he's a baby, right? We start working with him, he's gonna be like, okay, I know what this is now. Maybe his
Yeah.
number increases, right? Because we've had a dog that it was a Frenchie, right? They came here for board and train, and Frenchies are still a bully breed, so technically they would need the big boy collar, but we still try the 280C. And this dog's regular working number, where he decided to feel it, was 90. That's
Okay.
that's unrealistic for the owner, right? Because if you need high power for an emergency, you only have so many more numbers to go for. And I'm assuming 127 is not going to stop this Frenchie. So we had to use a big boy collar, and then 90 turn into 30, right? So you have so many more numbers to be helping you out in those situations where you need power. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
yeah.
Not
That's
necessarily.
funny. I didn't realize Frenchies were bully breeds, but Bruno has actually been bit in the face by 3 different Frenchies. And he just looks at me like, what was that for? Like he doesn't react at all. He's like he's such a beta. Like I feel like I'm insulting him by saying that, but I would be shocked if he ever, I know it's totally in any dog and any dog can react poorly at any time. I'm not naive to that, but I think it would take a lot for Bruno to like snap on another dog.
And it's just like humans. Like, I mean, dogs are more reactive. So like if something happens, they react right away. Versus like humans, we talk about it like, hey, this upset me. Don't do it again. You know, it's just not. I mean, obviously, there's people out there who have like anger issues or just like they
Yeah.
they just react in certain ways. But like, yeah, that's perfectly normal. It's definitely a good thing to have in your dog that when they feel uncomfortable and they're like, what happened? They look for the owner for like guidance or they're like, you know, because we're supposed to vouch for the dogs. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's natural for dogs to like go at it and figure it out themselves. We can't have that.
Right.
Any other questions about the e-collar?
No, I'm comfortable. My only concern would be like maybe if we could try not the big boy collar at first
I
and
mean,
see how it goes.
it's the next one would be the 2300 because the big boy collar, it's how to say, I recommend the big boy collar anyways to any dog just because it's such a good collar
Okay.
and it's also like if you care about looks, it's aesthetically pleasing because the next collar would you get would be a box like this, but the
Oh,
one you're getting is curved that goes around the neck, so it's more like subtle, I guess, you know. Uh,
yeah. And how much is that one? Just
on 300. I think it's
300.
299 before tax.
Okay.
The other one you'd get would be 27, maybe 275. I can't remember what the other one would be. Uh,
Okay.
but again, you're
Send
definitely
me a link for those.
yeah. Oh no, yeah, you're gonna get all this information because after
Okay.
the presentation, you're gonna get a follow up email with the programs we talked about, the pricings, and then links to the e-card for you to order off Amazon, or you can purchase it through us. It's up to your personal preference there. But you'll get an email after this consultation.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, the dog trot is waterproof as well. You get a mile long range if you need a mile long range. They're rechargeable, so you just plug them in and then plug that into the wall. They last a long time, battery life, and then just in general, they last long. What else about them? They're very easy to use, very simple.
And
Ours,
I would basically just use it like when needed, or do you keep it on all day overnight?
yeah, that's a good question. It's on when you need it. And this is after training as well. So if you're gonna go for a walk with Bruno, it's gonna be on, right?
Right.
Just in case. So let's say since we already know Bruno's a little flighty with surprises, let's say a car crash happens right next to you. I
Yeah.
He's probably gonna try to book it, right? So we've heard a lot of stories of like owners get pulled to the ground or leashes like slip out the hands and then they're just gone, right? So there, Bruno come is not going to make him turn around because he's in flight mode. When dogs are in flight mode, they're thinking kill or be killed. So you're going to
Oh,
need remote and power to override the brain and make him do the 180 and come back to you, right?
okay.
That's what power is needed. But you're not going to be using the e-car all the time on your walks. Well, you shouldn't be, right? After training, it's just there if you need it. So like the trainers here, their dogs, we probably only like press the button like once a month for like emergencies, but it's there just in case we need it. In the home right now, if Bruno's just a sweet angel in the home and you don't need it, then you don't need to put it on. Uh,
Yeah.
Guests coming over, if you know you're gonna have guests coming over and we already know he's jumping and super excited, you
Yeah.
power him up 30 minutes prior, address whatever that is needing to be addressed. And if you find that Bruno is settled throughout the night, you can take it off. Or if you want to keep it on just in case, he gets hyped up again, you can keep it on as well. So it's just like personal preference there. Uh,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
It does. And he does settle down, after 10 minutes or so, but it's just that whole introduction, like as soon as the doorbell rings, it's like he thinks like the president's at the door, like he's like bouncing around, and other than that, he's great.
Yeah. Did I write that down? I'll write that down. So guests entering the home. What else? Does that answer your question about like when it stays on or when you need it, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I think I would be comfortable once he settles to take it off, or even just it's fine leaving it on when people are there just in case. But yeah, when no one's here, he's great. Like he's sleeping under the bed right now.
Any other questions about the e-collar?
No.
Cool. So there is another common question owners have with the e-collar, is that how come when the e-collar's not on, Bruno starts jumping on the guests again, right? So we like to compare it to like humans, like for driving, right? Do you drive on the highway?
Yeah.
You go the speed limit?
Yeah.
For real? Every
Not
time?
always.
No.
Not always.
But then what happens when you see a squad car?
You slow down.
Exactly. This
Yeah.
is called opportunistic behavior. It's just nature. It's just
Yeah.
in everyone. It's in dogs. So Jesse likes to call the e-collar a cop on a collar, right? When the cop's here, they behave. When the cop leaves, they take advantage of that. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the training. It has something to do with the way you're practicing. It has nothing to do with the e-collar. It's just a nature thing. Some dogs are more opportunistic than others. So you might notice in Bruno, if you do, again, it's natural, it's nature. Because again, if we know we can get away with something, we're going to get away with it.
Yeah. They push the limit a little. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I had a call come in.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
What else? So, program wise, what were you looking for? Were you looking for like a one-on-one, like in person, board and train, or daycare and train?
So I'm a little worried about the board and trade because Bruno does not like cages.
Mhm.
He is potty trained and he just kind of likes to sleep wherever he wants. He's never done well when I shut the door of a cage. I tried everything, and occasionally he would go in there to get like a high end treat and come right back out. I maybe once saw him resting in the cage, like without me prompting him, over the last, I don't know, 16 months or so. So I just got rid of it. And I know that's probably not ideal in a dog trainer's world, but like he doesn't use it and it's just sitting there like an eyesore. So having him overnight would worry me because I assume you cage them and then nobody might be there. Um,
Yes and no. So first for you, like you said, it's not the way a dog trainer would handle it, but it works. So
yeah,
that's all that matters. If you find that he's good at the kennel and life is easy, then that's what you'll do, right? So that's
yeah,
fine. We have no issue with that. Here, someone is here 24/7, so we are able to hear dogs barking, breaking out cages. We can hear these things, and we'll fix it and we'll correct it. So we're technically, he'll be trained in the kennel here if that's something you want to fix. But if it's something you're carrying, because the board and train, because you're looking for obedience,
yeah,
right? So it doesn't really matter what program you do, right? Because you're just looking for obedience. Now, if there's behavior included, then it does matter, and there's something we recommend. But it's mostly for you, it'd be like availability, right? If you're like, because like for some clients, like, hey, I'm going out of town for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I want to do the board and train. Okay, we'll do it, right? Some clients don't have the time to meet us at a consistent time and date 6 or 9 times to do training, and they don't have time to practice. Then they do the daycare and train or the board and train. So it's just
okay,
what works for you. If you think that board and train is not a good fit, then you don't need the board and train.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, either I would think the first two options, either meet one on one or the daycare and train.
yeah. So
'Cause I just
one-on-one.
other dogs too.
Say that again.
And because that like then kind of you could see how he is with other dogs and if anything needs to be corrected, you know,
We'll work with them. Yeah.
socialization wise.
Yeah. So the one-on-one, um, we have the 6 week, the 9 week, and the 12 week. You'd be in the minimum 6 week, I think we'd fine. So 6 week, think of the 6 week program like I walk Bruno with structured heel, structured walk. around the neighborhood. And then I take him to like a field or my sister's house with the open area. I need recall, and then I go home.
Okay.
That's week. The 9 week is I walk my dog around the block, structured in the heel right next to me, glued to my left leg, loose leash in any environment. You need recall. And then you also take Bruno to patios and you need him to lay down and not move for 2 hours. That's 9 week. 12 week is all those things. And then you take him off leash hiking. So we give you a lot more tools and knowledge to kind of how to handle himself, how to handle Bruno in off leash world, in the woods, and giving you more emergency commands to use in case something happens there.
Okay.
So 6 or 9 week would be best for you, but obviously if you're wanting all maximum control, then the 12 week, right?
Yeah.
So those are how we kind of explain like what the programs are doing for you and your dog. So it just depends on like what you decide on.
And the patio, like the staying for 2 hours, that would translate at home as well with company, correct?
Yes, correct.
Uh,
Sorry.
and then would I just drop him off and you do all of this, or would I be along for the ride for those 3 hours or however long?
Oh, so okay, so daycare and training. Daycare and training is when you drop off Bruno here. We do the training and then you pick him up. So for
Okay.
the training here, we record all of our sessions. So you'll see, so here, if you do daycare and training, we have the 5, 10, 15, 20-day bundles. You'd be in more like the 10-day or 15-day. 10-day, you get 2 1 hour long videos about of me introducing the 6 commands: heel, stay, sit, down, place, and come when called. You'll get all these videos and compiled into one, and you'll see how he's taken to the e-car for the first time, how we teach it, and how to practice it, and like just like seeing his progression. The second week is us doing those commands again, but we're transferring it to the long leash phase. So a 30-foot long leash, we hold the end of it, and it's basically we're just telling Bruno, you have 30 feet, do what you want, you still need to listen. So we're just advancing his obedience there.
Okay.
15-day daycare and train, the next phase would be training him in the playpen where dogs are playing and everything, where a lot of activity is going on. So we're doing heel, stay, sit, down, place in the playpen with dogs.
Got it.
20
Lots of
day, yeah, the 20-day is when we take him to Horner Park and we do a little bit of long leash work there, and we're transferring it to like a realistic setting. And then something we do touch upon, like the off leash heel and all those things. So the 6 week, 9 week, and 12 week. That's in person. That's where we meet we meet for an hour a week, 6 times or 9 times or 12 times. Now,
Okay.
daycare and train, we drop them off. It's 5, 10, 15, 20. And then with the daycare and train, you're getting the videos, and then you're also getting follow-up lessons. So the 10 daycare and train, you get 3 hours of follow-up time, where we still operate at Oz Park, so you still get that one-on-one in-person feel at Oz Park, where we transfer all the commands to you. Because at first, Bruno is only going to know the commands with me, the other trainers here at Canine Perspective. E-car is very transferable. So that's another wonderful thing about it is, usually like when we work with couples, right? Partner number one, for in-person, partner number one goes first. They do all the hard work, and it's a lot of work there. Then they hand the dog off to partner number two, and it's super easy. It's like they didn't have to do anything, right? So because when I press a button on 30 and you press a button on 30, it's still 30. There's no, well, he's stricter than me or she's stronger than him. If there's none of that, because again, 30 is 30 for everyone. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I wouldn't worry about, oh, he's good when the trainer's here, but when the trainer leaves, he's bad. That doesn't happen because again, 30 is 30 for everything.
Okay. So the first option where it's one-on-one training. So like you said, you go to a patio for 2 hours.
Yeah, we can give you the command and we teach you how to do that. So
okay.
for the one-on-one, we meet at Oz Park. and we have our lessons there. So it's all verbal instruction. The trainer doesn't touch the dog. We just tell you what to do. So you're learning everything from ground zero. So you're learning how to like troubleshoot. You're learning how you talk the commands. You learn how to practice. You're there for the whole time of the training. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes.
Sorry for this confusion.
Sorry. Okay. No, that makes sense. And then the goal is to be able to have him sit at a patio for 2 hours.
Yes, because we're going to give you the commands and we'll teach you how to practice and we'll make it happen in the session as well. Not for 2 hours, but we can teach you like this is what's going to look like. And this is what
Okay.
you do if he gets up, right? To make it consistent and make him hold that down.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I'm interested, and I'm assuming the pricing will be in the email and all that.
Yes, pricing will be in the email. So it's my assistant Tina. She'll
Okay.
send you the programs for the in-person with the prices. The 6 week and the 9 week is what I recommend. Or you make that choice. Or no, probably the 9 weeks since you're looking for the patio stuff, right?
Yeah. But so if I wanted to start with 6 and then if I'm seeing a lot of progress and I want to add the 9, can you adjust the package as needed?
Yes, you'll just have to purchase a 3 week after that.
Okay.
So I'll send you. So she'll send you the six. So she'll send you the 3 week, the 6 week, and the 9 week with the prices for in person. For the daycare and train, she'll send you the 10-day and then the 15-day prices there. The e-card we recommend for Bruno, and then an agreement form that needs to be signed.
Okay.
So if you decide to do daycare and train, there's another separate form that you need to fill out, which is like shot records,
Yes.
and all that important information. But if you do it in person, we don't need your shot records. We just need you to sign the agreement form, and then we go ahead. And after that is all those forms are filled out, we go ahead and start the billing and booking process, and we'll get you on the calendar.
Okay.
And we work with your availability. So whenever you're available, we work that. What else?
Is
And,
it better to do it 10 days in a row?
so for the daycare and train,
Yeah. Or just in general, even in person, do you try to stagger them every other day or every third day? Or does
oh,
it
so
better
for
if it's day after day
yeah,
continuously?
so for the in person, we meet one time once a week. So
Okay.
let's say we do the 6 week program. As for example, Sundays 1 p.m. 6 times, but you get 6 slots plus one. That plus one is just in case you cancel or life happens. So if something happens, you still have a slot available for you. Once you have used that extra slot that's for you, you have to wait to get back on the calendar to continue your session. So it's Sundays 1 p.m. 6 times, right?
Got
Uh,
it.
Daycare and train, you get a bundle. So if you're like I want to come Mondays and Wednesdays, but then you can't make one Wednesday, doesn't matter. You still have that day. It's a bundle.
Okay.
But for that, it's we recommend at least like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. They don't need to be in a row. It could be on Monday or Wednesday. Obviously, the more you bring Bruno, the more fresh it is for him.
Yeah.
So the video will be usually available after his third day of the daycare and train. Once you get that video, you are more than welcome to practice. Um, After that third day, you are also allowed to set up a follow-up for an hour. So that sometimes, owners will get the video and they'll say, yeah, I watched it, but I feel uncomfortable practicing without a trainer here. Like, okay, we'll schedule the follow-up. And you can schedule the follow-up anytime. Like you can do it in the middle of the program. You don't need to wait till your program's over. We can after the third day, we can do a follow-up right away. Once you watch the video, get familiar with it. We do the
Okay.
follow-up. You start practicing, so then he's getting trained here, and he's also getting practice at home because with e-collar, it's very important for the dog to get exposed to it in other places.
Yeah.
Because it's good that he's doing good here at the facility with us, right? But then what about outside? What about
Right.
your neighborhood? How's he doing there? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah,
So with the daycare and train, do you do everything inside or do you also take them outside as part of that?
we teach the foundations inside. Once we've taught that foundations, like maybe like after like the second or third day, we start doing training walks around like 2 or like 1 p.m. We take them for like an hour training walk using the e-car. We go to Home Depot. There's a Home Depot right here, which is really nice. And there's also a PetSmart right around the corner. So we make stops and then we come back here.
Oh, are you right by like Elston then?
Uh, I don't think so. We're right by the Dan Ryan on Western.
Yeah, okay, by like that skate park.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah, right by the
Yeah,
skate park. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Target and the Home Depot and like all that stuff is right
I
there.
used to live right over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're right here. We're with everything here. And then our follow-ups will still take place at Oz Park or the facility, however you want to go about it.
Okay.
And am I missing anything? Any other questions?
No, I think that's it.
I'm trying to think. Did I get everything? You said he's social. So he's been at dog parks and everything.
Yeah, dog parks. I do play dates with like friends' dogs, my sister's dogs, my brother's dogs. He's pretty much like around small dogs, even the ones that are annoying him. Like he like knows not to play rough with them. I mean, like
Oh,
he's kind of like motherly around them. Um, if they're constantly like at him, sometimes he'll like, hop up and down and like with his paws, but never like swipe at them or anything. He's just like, he's good with every dog so far. Fingers crossed.
good. Let's see. Oh, so the reason why we do no warning, real quick, um, is because there's like a delay there. So if let's say he decides to book it for like, maybe that car accident scenario I created, you try doing the warning, but then like he's about to cross the street, and then you do the stimulation, you wasted all that time, right?
Yeah.
So we don't like giving. I mean, so the cue, we give the cue, and then stimulation to enforce it if they don't do it, to make the command happen. Because if you say something, and then Bruno's like, nah, right? He remembers that he's like, you try making me do something, I didn't do it, and you couldn't make it happen. So that he remembers that. So the
Yeah.
situation there is there to make the command happen. So if we're giving the warning, sometimes that warning has to be given every single time. Versus you do it, you don't do it, and we tap you, then he's more inclined to do it right away on cue. Versus here, I'll hear the warning first because I know you're probably gonna hit the warning a few times, and then I can, I take advantage of that time because they'll take advantage of that time. They'll do as much as they can to buy more time to not do the command.
Got it.
But we don't do warnings. I think one gentleman said that hunting dogs, they never do warnings because if they're out there in the field hunting like the hogs, right, they can't risk of a beep first because if they're hunting for a hog, I'm pretty sure a beep will mean nothing to them because they're looking for that hog.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why we don't do warning. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Alrighty. Any other questions?
Not right now, but if I think of any, I'll just shoot over an email if that works.
Yeah. Yeah. If anything pops up, email me. Other than that, if there's nothing else, and then do you go by Bernie?
Either one. Yeah. Most people call me Bernie, but I'll answer to whatever.
Okay. Other than that, it was very nice speaking to you, Bernie, and very nice
Cool.
meeting you. Currently, I don't think we're looking for any more part timers. I don't think
Okay.
so. Because we're right now we're still trying to see if this one lady is gonna come in. I think I'm not sure if that's still happening, but if that
Okay.
doesn't happen, I'm sure Jesse will reach out to you. Uh,
That's perfect.
Other than that, very nice meeting you,
You
and
too. Thank you.
we'll be in touch.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Enrique.
Have a great night.
You too. Bye.